Howdy, folks. Welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And today is Monday. Yes, 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 I know. It's been a while, folks. And there we go. I guess we're live.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Notification just popped on.
You know what? I'm glad I heard yours because I forgot to turn mine down.
Oh, right on.
I'm
I
tr-
always like to know when, it's like if it, because I know if it's notifying me, hopefully it's notifying everybody else.
right. Well, I finally figured out how to get the notifications back. I I'd gotten mine back to where it was showing an hour before, and I called Wayne, because Wayne wasn't getting his notifications on his live stream, and I told him how I'd done mine, and his started showing up, and I was like, "What setting did you set it on?" He set it for 24 hours prior to the live stream, and that sparked a memory where I'd remembered that's what I'd had checked on it before, so
I hope
now
mine
we
keeps
won't have any
going off. I'm
problems.
like, oh shoot, I don't know how to shut that off. I'm like, uh-oh.
What's going on? So
Oh God. Well, I'll figure it out as we go, I'm sure.
we're always shooting from the hip here. So, but anyway, like I
Absolutely.
said, folks, I've been kind of taking some time off, trying to still heal, and I've healed quite a bit, and also,
Yay.
we did. I was going to do the Trinity of Truth on Saturday, and I forgot about that meditation being right during the middle of our show, and so I
Yeah.
just opted not to do it. To be honest with you, I just wanted to kind of
Yeah.
keep the focus on the meditation, and
Mhm.
we'll kind of talk about that in here in a minute. Maybe our experiences with it. I will say right off the bat, I'd meditate throughout the day, and
Me
I
too.
did do the meditation that night, but I
Yeah.
kind of did my own thing. That's just kind
Me
of the
too.
way I was led, and that's what Trina said. She had kind of done her own thing as well, and so
Yeah.
I'd like to hear some of your all's experiences. I do agree with Wayne. I listened to his show today, and I did hear that heartbeat or drum beat, whatever you want to, or I didn't hear it. I could feel it.
That's what I think is the heartbeat of Earth, of Gaia. It's literally, yeah, it's a pulse, it's a heartbeat, it's a boom, boom. Yes, it's beautiful.
It did bring me to tears in the end. I ain't
Oh,
gonna lie though. So.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I was definitely feeling something.
That's when you know you're actually there, is when the emotion is pouring out of the body. That means that the heart is producing that emotion, and that emotion, if it's powerful enough to bring you to tears, man, you're sending out a strong signal. That's like the potency of a mother's prayer, which is, wow, I've seen the strength of those prayers. The light that comes from that is off the hook. And it's like equivalent to that. So it's
Well,
beautiful.
mass meditation and mass prayer, that's the same thing.
Yes, it is. It's the same.
It's intent.
Yeah, they use different words, but it's literally the same thing. It's
Mm,
just you're directing energy. How you're doing it sometimes is the difference between prayer and meditation, because meditation is about going in, and prayer sometimes is about asking outward. So, but a lot of people know how to pray working with the divinity within them. So it's just, it's wordplay, but in essence, we're all trying to do the same thing, and that's access the power and potency of what's within us, and creating it and sending it out into the world made manifest.
true, true. Yeah, I'm definitely glad that we were able to experience it, and I'm glad that that Wayne was able to show an image of the Schumann resonance
Me
during
too.
that too, because I mean there ain't no coincidences there.
No, it's evidence. It's like it's evidence. I've known this. I was like the second coming, from when I was up in the heavens and I wasn't incarnated, and the visions they've always shown me. We came here to be the second coming. That's us. The ones who know how to do this focused concentration, focused prayer, focused meditation. We are the ones that will be putting Christ back in the world through that. And it's like you said, those emotions, and oh, all the beautiful energy that people were sending out in the world. Man, it spiked that Schumann. You could just see the white light, the white light. That
That's
is
what it
us,
was.
and that is God, and that is creation. And it's manifest. We can see it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Like I said, there's no denying that at all.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I'll look down. We got 33 with us. We'll see what we got real quick.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
All right. We got Miss Shauna D. And there's Chloe. Good to see you. There's Sparkles. I just love saying that.
I do too.
Deborah L. Smith. Good to see you. And there's Crystal MacArthur. BTW70. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
Dark Truth. Always a pleasure. Mr. David Castle.
David.
Leanne V. Good to see you. Julotica, welcome, welcome, welcome. Alex Fox, what's going on, buddy? Sherry Large. Jaway, good to see you, my man. Rocky Mountain High, welcome, welcome, welcome. I think it's first time viewer. Scotty Boy, good to see you. Paula Mays. They slowly coming. There's Big Al. What's going on, buddy? Brandy Robinson.
Hi, Brandy.
Shauna D said human residents got up to 31.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yep,
and that makes 4 earth, air, fire, and water completion. All 4 corners. Yay!
Sun, what's going on? Miss Travel 444, Zigzagzilla. Gotta like that one too. Truth in me, always. Rick Yorkin, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you. All right. Candy Apple and Ian Barber. Amy S., welcome, welcome, welcome. Blanca Lugardo, good to see you. Butterfly Kiss 286, it's been a minute. Good to see you. All right. Well, so anyway, I figured before we got going on this, I wanted to discuss, number one, the comment and all that, that people were talking about. And, I told you about the vision I had. I honestly, I don't believe that the Comet Atlas, I believe it's a message. That's what I'm getting with this comet. I don't think that's what's going to come to destroy us. It is kind of ironic that its closest point to Earth is on my birthday, May 23rd. So, maybe I'll get to see it on my birthday. But I do think it's maybe a sign of things to come, So it does have a horrendous tail behind it. So,
oh yeah,
that's more of my concerns. So, a lot of people are, of course, starting to compare it to Planet X and things like that. And, I knew that it is ironic once again, though, that this Comet Atlas coming in is blue. So the blue Kachina. So
yes.
Anyway, something to keep an eye on. But another thing, I don't know if anybody I know some of y'all have been following, but the dark chakra little thing, that keeps coming up. And this is a download basically I got during the meditation the other night. I think I figured, actually, I know I figured out what the dark chakras are.
Right on.
And I'm going to. And, I was telling Trina before we come out, you always hear these people that talk about wanting to remove the chakra systems and things like that. And I was always like, man, I can't see how that could benefit you. But I also, something, kind of resonated with me about it being a part of this 3D reality, maybe something that binds us here, that, I could see something in that. Well, what I got the other night, that's exactly what that is. But we don't want to get rid of our 3D chakra systems. What the dark chakras are, it's the chakra system that we'll be using going into the crystalline grid. That's why they appear dark.
Wow.
So, but you don't want to remove your chakras you have now. You've got to make it a natural process to go into that. But the dark chakras are, if you look at a crystalline grid, you see where I'm going here?
I totally do. I'm like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So anyway, now it's going to make me want to go do research on removing these chakras, because I know there's some information in there somewhere to be gathered.
I'm like seeing, that's the 5-dimensional chakra system.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's the
Yeah,
5D
and
chakra. It's the
that's
crystalline
amazing.
chakra
Yeah,
system.
that's amazing, and that totally makes sense to me. Wow, yeah, because that makes that yeah, that totally makes sense. That's brilliant, Brian. Brilliant.
Like I said, I mean, like I said, it was more of a knowing. Like, I mean, that's what it is.
It's so funny because that's
got to
like
be
totally in alignment with what I was seeing, but a little bit of a different because I was seeing that the dark chakras were attached to the
conductors.
subconscious strata, the unseen part of
Yeah.
our construct that we don't have access
But
to.
it is in a way because we're not
Yeah,
into
because
the
yeah,
5D yet.
astral travel, subconscious, that's all higher dimensional stuff that's inside of us, but nonetheless, that's where we get to those places is through the subconscious mind.
Yep.
That's
So
crazy, beautiful,
anyway,
powerful.
I'd like for any of y'all to maybe ponder on that a little bit and kind of see what comes to mind for you. That's the way we're gonna figure things out. So
It's so funny too, and I keep hearing that this is how we access alchemy. It's through these hidden parts that we're activating now.
yeah.
Wow, that's
Hold on.
beautiful.
Liam V says, so the rest besides our normal 7 are dark. No, 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 no.
Now they're like identical, but in different dimensions,
It's just in a
right?
different dimension. Yeah. And
Right, that's what I'm
when we
seeing too.
fully
They're like,
merge into
yeah,
the
like they're the
fifth,
same, but they're just like this, and they're going to go like this. Yeah,
yep. And when
yeah,
we merge into the 5D, they'll light up.
yes,
So,
totally get it. Yay! Yes,
all right. So
I
anyway,
think that's awesome, Brian. Awesome.
yeah, I had it more, more eloquently said, but of course, when I get on here, it's just like, "Duh."
No, I totally get it because it's like downloads are hard because so much information. It's like
Yeah,
you can't spit it out of your mouth. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
So
It takes a while to process these things, and then later on, you're probably gonna be able to speak about it real well because now it's all sunk in, you
well,
know?
once I do a little more research on, like I said, I want to look into the removal of the chakras and things like that. I'll probably do a full show on it. So
Yeah. Like you said too, the removal thing was like, I was like, I don't know about that because that's how we're connected to the planetary bodies in the solar system. And those
right,
are very wise, beautiful creators, you know? So I'm like, why would you want to cut off your communication with your system?
that's your
Right.
that's your light body. I mean, that's your connection to your light body.
Yes, the electrical,
Yeah.
energetic part of yourself. Yeah, that's exactly. I was like, oh, that could be very
Yeah, I
dangerous.
don't think I want to get rid of that. Something I
Right?
want to
I was
hold
like,
on to.
oh, that could be very dangerous. Yeah, that was my instinct, but I understand why people would think to disconnect
Yeah.
from the artificial chakra system. Because I get it that it's an overlay of the real.
Yeah,
So I
but what
get
I
that.
did get, there is no rushing it. There's no shortcuts.
Yeah,
So,
I really do. The information that I received was um Brian was saying like everybody can't sleep right now. It's like we have all this broken sleep and stuff and all this weird, like, it's almost like anxiety, but I don't think it's anxiety. I think it's excitement. I think we're literally feeling our higher selves like freaking out with excitement over what we're doing right now because I really, it was huge. It was huge. The heavens and the earth heard our call. I mean, profound,
yep.
profound what was done.
And I mean, that's just, the way I look at it's tip of the iceberg, really. Just
Yeah.
getting started. But, I've kept saying things like that all along. Like, at first, getting small groups together, seeing what you can do. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that they were able to organize something where enough people did get on board where it was even visible to the Schumann resonance. I mean, come
It
on.
was it was so powerful. I mean, it was so powerful. There were so many people on board with a common goal of unity, love, and healing. I mean, it was beautiful. And like you said, you were drawn to go into forgiveness, and I was drawn to go more into protection. It's
But I
crazy.
mean, we've always said we all play our own small part. So,
Yes, and that's so important. Do what you feel.
yep.
Trust your inner knowing. The different ways we're all doing these things is the gift. This is the magic of it because all the diversity is powerful, especially when it has a common goal, a common focus, Wow, it's powerful.
And see, that's
Wow.
even more reason not to compare yourself to others along this journey, because like she said, she felt compelled to go one way during that meditation. I felt compelled to go my own,
And
because
it,
we
it
all
was
play our own part.
Yeah, and it was all serving the highest good of this reality. And
Yep.
we were all doing it in the way that felt the most natural to your being. And that is potent and powerful, because it's just like the rainbow, there's all the different colors that make the picture.
Yep.
So there's got to be at least seven different, well, at least nine ways to anchor one reality. It's got to come through different ways for it to be whole and solidified with its
Well,
fullness.
if you think we're the projector, so it's all got to come through us.
Yes, that's why I always knew the second coming was going to be the awakening of us here on the
Yep.
planet in 3D, and we would merge with our higher selves, which an aspect is the Christ, the
And
anointing.
look at things that we're starting to do now.
That's why.
I know there had to at least be 100,000 people involved in that, at
Oh
least.
no, I think there
I'm
was.
just, I'm being, very.
I think there was a million. I really do. I mean, I saw people that were like the secretary at my homeopath doctor's office. She totally knew about it. I was
That's
floored. I
cool.
was like, "Whoa, really?" Because
Well,
yeah,
I shared it on,
it's
my
amazing.
local Facebook and all that, and had people that I'd went to high school with and stuff liked it. So,
That's what I mean. I think I literally, when they told me to go into protection mode, I went above and I saw the light of all the light workers doing this meditation, and I was shielding the energy and holding it and protecting all the people from any type of interference. That was what I was called to do. And it was amazing because I could see millions. Millions.
that leads
That's
me to
right. I was seeing millions.
that
Millions.
leads me to talk about something that's been weighing heavy on me. And I made it a point on this channel and trying to bring about spirituality and all that,
Mhm,
and I'm not saying that it's kind of ran its course. I'm focusing on this higher minds and things like that. But
mhm,
folks, I just want to tell you, we're at a point now to where no matter what your belief is, you need to believe in it full fledged,
mhm.
because you got to have something to hang on to right now,
Yeah.
because things are going to get tricky.
Mhm.
So, no matter if you're still worshiping false idols and entities and all that, that's your gig, do it. Just do it well.
Yeah. And it's as a piece of the creator. In actuality, we're all of it. So we need to
Yeah,
find peace with that, is understanding that we are all of it.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's really, it's getting down to the point where you need to worry about you
Yeah,
and you alone.
yeah. And the bottom line is right now it's not about going to anything outside of yourself. Right now it's about diving into yourself to resolve and heal and clear as much of your own internal trauma as possible. Because every time you do this, you're reducing your own karma, which is lifting karma from the planet. It's like a multi-layered healing service. And this is what we've been called forth to do right now, is go within, clean your own
Yeah,
temple. Through this, you clean the world.
absolutely.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I'm glad I got to get that out. So anyway, I guess we'll try to get a couple of chapters in if we can.
Oh, right on.
Oh man, my foot's hurting. All right.
Oh,
So that's why I want to start reading, because maybe
right. It'll distract you.
take the
Yes.
mind off of it.
Yes.
Well, I don't need that big. All right, chapter 16. That is where we left off, isn't it?
I believe so.
for sure.
Yes,
All
it
right, here
was.
we go.
Yes, it was.
Okay, let me get down here. I got to get set up for success here. All right, here we go.
Right on.
Chapter 16. Higher Minds. Finally, we're back. Oh, yeah, before I get started, depending on how this goes, I thought about maybe picking up again tomorrow night since I missed last week.
Okay.
That's up to y'all in chat. If y'all want to do it tomorrow night, we'll do it. If not, we'll wait till next week. So just let me know. All right, here we go. What was it the prophets learned at the mystery schools in Egypt and with the Essenes? They arrived at the school as children and spent 20 to 30 years there. Most of the great prophets you hear were graduates from one of these schools. So was Yeshua, I can't say that, Jesus. we
Hmm.
know we know his name was not Jesus because the letter J was invented by the Pope over 1,000 years later. And the spelling of the name, what is that?
Halashimi.
Halashimi, okay, is disputed also. He was also called Yeshua ben Joseph
Hmm.
and Yeshua Nazarene. He spent well over 10 years with the Essenes. The Roman records show that Joshua was a rebel. He tried to create an uprising by by the Jews against the Romans to drive them out of Judea.
Hmm.
Many Jews were afraid to associate much with him because of the way he spoke out against the Romans. He is the one who, against his wishes, was claimed to be the King of Jews.
Yep.
When the Romans found out who he was and what he was doing, they circulated a wanted poster with his drawing and description on him of him on it. It said he was short. I assumed he'd been tall. Converted to our measures, about 5 feet tall. The Romans had the Jews really under the heel of their boot at that time, and the Jews needed something to hope for. As you know, the Romans did not like people speaking against them very much. In fact, they got really upset, rounded him up, and did unspeakable things to him. You know the story and have probably read the book about him, the Bible. And some of you have seen the movie about him, The Passion of Christ. The Essenes lasted for almost 900 years as a spiritual nomadic society managed by a council of 12 elders. About 100 BC, their leader was called the Teacher of Righteousness. He did many miracles and traveled throughout the region, claimed he was the Messiah, and taught spirituality. He was crucified about 100 BC. Many of the stories in the writings about him are identical and of the same character and detail as the stories of Yeshua. There was actually over 100 Christ-like figures that were wrote about.
Correct. Correct. Yep. There were
This,
many, many masters that
yeah,
got slayed over being a master, just like witches were hung for being witches. People who had powers, literally, they went after them.
and Jesus is the one that caught on,
Yeah. Mhm.
basically.
Yep.
These scenes were isolationist, and they never got much involved in the affairs of the rest of the world. Their life was very simple. We can truly say they were in this world, but not of this world. They had few rules, no prison, no unemployment, and they had freedom for the people. There was only one restitution to pay if there was an injured party. Yeshua probably was drawn to the scenes because his second cousin, John the Baptist, had spent a lot of time there. Where did you think Joshua disappeared to for many years? After his time in Egypt with the Essenes, he traveled a lot. He was in India, back with the Essenes in Egypt, and even in what today is France, probably many other places. The Essenes specialized in educating healers and spiritual teachers. They learned about herbs, natural foods, substances in their environment, such as salts, minerals, and foods that would be healing and life sustaining, as well as spiritual healing. If you want to learn more about the Essenes, how their society was structured, and how they conducted themselves and what they taught, you should get a series of books called The Essene Gospel of Peace. Blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
It is on the internet. Please remember the Essenes were faithful, fanatical Jews. And of course, so was the man you know as Jesus. He was not a Christian. He did not create Christianity. Nope, the Romans did.
Yep. That is so exactly from my relationship with the Lord. This is like what was shown to me my whole life. He was a rebel, and they killed him because he was going against the Romans and the Pharisees. And they literally, yeah. But he was not the first nor the last.
Nope.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm going to keep reading. If there's any questions, we'll take them on the next one. It's a short chapter.
Oh, okay.
All right. We know that the one you know is Jesus spent a considerable amount of time with the Essenes, but there is a lot more to that story. That is the part of the story which has been hidden from the masses. This is an extremely controversial subject. It can make friends or mortal enemies. It has for some 1,978 years. So here goes. Who was Jesus? Well, we know his name was not Jesus, it was Yeshua. This Yeshua is a very elusive figure, almost bordering on a mythical character. Outside of the Bible, which first draft and general text was created in 325 and for the next few years AD in Constantinople, Turkey, there's very little to find unless you really dig. It is almost as he has been purposely removed from history. But from what there is to find, it is very much different from what we read in the Bible. There are a few scraps of records about him in the surviving Roman records. There are also a few libraries where you may find a few bits and pieces. It looks as if the scholars of the time absolutely wrote nothing about him. If he was such a phenomenal centerpiece at the time, that would be strange and unusual. It is almost as if he did not exist. But we have enough information to know that he did exist, maybe a much different person than we are led to believe. Mm-hmm. There is one document which could solve the puzzle for us if it were to be released to the public. That is the one set of writings from the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Qumran scrolls. There's a scroll that explained the trial, conviction, and execution of Yeshua, the King of Jews. Now, I'm sorry to say that many more of the writings of the Dead Sea Scrolls are in the hands of the Jews and highly classified. We would wonder why. A 2,000-year-old historical document. Then again, if the documents would speak contrary to what the Christian church teaches, it would be a nice gesture by the Jewish government to protect the Christian friends in Rome. Still, I know this document exists. Over 40 years ago in Europe, I had a translation of it. Some of it evidently slipped through their fingers before they managed to clamp down on the information. It came from Oxford University, the publishing department of Oxford University. I'm sure they still have it, or they may not want to admit that they have it. I can see why they want to protect the Catholic Church. It is a government-sanctioned church, and Oxford University is dependent on government grants. The best way would be to go there in person and start going through records. I previously said that Yeshua was a rebel and very radical in his actions and words. In fact, the document from the Dead Sea Scrolls says he was not very popular with the Jews. They thought he was dangerous and could hurt their cause. He wanted to create an uprising against the Romans and drive them out of Judea. He spoke on several occasions to crowds of people, encouraging them to take up the arms against the Romans. The Romans took a dim view of this. They paid ransom for his identification, had him arrested, and arranged for a trial. Wealthy Jews who profited from the Roman occupation helped to get him convicted. In this translation, it spoke to Yeshua as being tall, light hair, as it stated, as the ripe grains of the field, and blue eyes as sky of the midday. This is totally different from what we're led to believe again. Evidently, he spoke Aramaic or Hebrew, yet was not a Jew. He was an Israelite. Not the same as the Jews or the Israelite of today. There's a big difference. It went on to explain that he was crucified and left hanging for only a few hours. He had to be taken down at sunset anyway. There was a celebration the next day for Passover on the Sabbath. The Roman law stated that no one could be left crucified over Passover. It said there was rain, so the streets flooded, the sky went dark. The Roman guards got scared, so they left and went for shelter. When Yeshua's companion and friends saw there were no guards, they took him down before his time and carried him away. He was taken to a grave chamber nearby where he was revived. He was taken away by his companion, Reed wife, his children, and a few followers to live in another land. It did not specify which other land. It said only that he was taken across the sea. It did not even say which sea, but we presume it was the Mediterranean. Most likely they have traveled to what is today's France. There are records of him having been there. I know this is a little different than you are used to reading. 500 years ago, I would have been hauled before the Catholic Church Inquisition, charged with heresy, quickly tried and promptly executed if they knew I would be thinking something like this. But wait, there's more. There are some things in the surviving Roman records worth mentioning, like Yeshua's wanted poster. When the Romans found out that he was speaking to the Jews about taking up arms against them, a wanted poster with his name, description, and stated reward was circulated. He was said to be using 3 names: Yeshua Beth Halashme, Yeshua the Nazarene, and Yeshua ben Joseph. We are told he was called Jesus of Nazareth. Well, Nazareth did not even exist at that time. The term Nazarene is the name of a group of people who were radically conservative, religious, fanatical Puritans. They were a branch of the Essenes.
Yep.
That he was using the name Yeshua ben Joseph would be understandable, as Ben Joseph means son of Joseph.
Correct.
The other 2 names may be news to the first-time reader. Now the wanted poster the Romans put out described him as short, less than 5 feet in our terms of measure, walking hunched over and bald-headed. There's a big difference in description here. I have asked my source on this, and I get the answer that his friends were giving the Romans the wrong information to protect him. That makes perfect sense to me. This is turning into more revisionist history than I had intended. Keep in mind that everything that happened back there was part of the illusion also. The illusion. So don't be too concerned about it. If you really want to know what the old records outside the Bible says, you should read The Passover Plot by Hugh Schoenfield. He is a thorough researcher of the ancient texts, and he documents everything he writes about. Also read Holy Blood and Holy Grail by Henry Lincoln, Richard Lee, and Michael Badgent. Since you are on this track, there's another one which is a well of knowledge about a person who claimed to be the Messiah, did a lot of miracles, and taught spirituality and love to the people. This is the book that will uncover most of the mysteries of the old records. The title of the book is Did Jesus Live 100 BC? It was written by G.R. Mead, and no, the man he writes about was not Jesus, but the leader of the Essenes at that time. He was called the Teacher of Righteousness. He had a very large following. He also was crucified by the Romans and was seen alive after his physical death. You can put on your investigator's hat and go have some fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
To sum it up, non-biblical records and old writings show Jesus to be a very different person than we are told. After you have worn your investigator's hat for a while and dug up a lot of information we are not supposed to know about, you may find that Yeshua was born in 7 BC. He had 4 brothers and a couple of sisters. He spent over 10 years with the Essenes. His companion wife was Maria Magdalena. They were both of royal blood.
Mm-hmm.
That is why she on occasion wore a red dress, and not because she was a prostitute, as some have claimed. They had several children. He was still alive at the age of 64, but may have died at the age of 64 on a trip back to Rome, where the records show that he owned some land outside of the city wall. Barbara Thiering, in her book, Jesus the Man, has some convincing research to this effect. I'm getting it. It is pretty accurate. Why am I even writing about this? Is it important since we are creating the universe we are walking around in and are totally responsible for everything in our life? Is what happened 2,000 years ago even of any importance, since it is an illusion and part of the hologram we've created? Well, maybe it is. Oh boy, I wish we could both speak Sanskrit so we could have a language to communicate in with the capacity to transfer into words and phrases the concepts and understanding received from the universal consciousness. Yeah. Here's the best I can do. There is no doubt we live in a mind-created universe. Quantum physics and spiritual science tells us so. The question for us is, how much of that creation are we willing to accept that we are capable of? The creation ranges all the way from fashioning a long stick sharp on one end and throwing it in at an animal to kill it so we can have something to eat, all the way to the other end of the scale with the capability to think billions of galaxies into existence. You have probably backtracked a little bit here after reading the last sentence. Oh, why would I think that? Because I did also for a split moment when I wrote it. Just for a moment, I thought the sphere and all the galaxies were real. The solution and answers to all the questions racing around in our heads is that none of it is real. It is all part of the intelligent hologram being projected outward by the ego portion of our mind. It is all swimming around in this pool of possibilities, the soup of creation, where everything past, present, and future already exists as possibilities. We are not using all this creation all the time, especially the part of it which only exists in parallel timelines or universes, which we may never get to use consciously. Our minds create it all, including many of the spiritual experiences in the physical reality. Some of those spiritual experiences we have in our physical existence are so deeply imprinted in our mind that we wholeheartedly believe it is the real thing and the truth. This is why we have created almost 2,000 years ago have some importance. It is dangerous to the schedule of your spiritual growth to have the wrong beliefs, specifically believing something is spiritually real when it is not. Being misled by anything will slow you down. It will extend the time we need to accomplish everything we need to do in physical existence. It takes long enough to muddle through and weed out the falsehoods and lies we have been brainwashed into believing over the centuries. Then we can be left with only the truth, what and who we are at our spiritual core. When we are there, we will find we are a spiritual being, universal, with unlimited capacity of thought and manifestation as part of the all encompassing universal consciousness, with no separation from the universal Father. When we know in our hearts, and that means minds, who we are all times, it is not long, even in linear time, before you start experiencing the unlimited knowledge and manifestation. From there, it is only a short step to city consciousness, an unlimited creative capability. So the detours of wrong beliefs are adding an extension to our linear time experience. Therefore, in a mind created universe, what we think about and believe is creating our reality. If we believe the falsehoods in our hologram are real, we are not going anywhere. That is why it is so important to do our own research to find falsehoods and lies so we can eliminate everything but truth from our mind. It was Winston Churchill who said, once in a great while, somebody may stumble over the truth, but they usually get up, dust themselves off, and muddle along again.
That is profound wisdom.
You know, it's kind of funny what we were talking about pre-show, and that whole chapter was sitting there talking about what I was been so frustrated with people regressing and things.
Yeah, and it's like this is about discovering truth. And truth is going to look different from the different perceptions and the different paths of what you're seeking to understand. And the power of understanding that all knowledge is truly within you, that is a powerful, potent gift. And
Yep.
it's true. And I was literally, that was one of the things that came forth when I was doing the meditation before the big meditation. It was the fact that literally through the Father, which is mind, and the Mother, which is your ability to perceive it,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Christ is the solar complex is in you. That's where you get to feel it and manifest it. So it's like through this Trinity, you literally are a creator, and you're as that spark or that little piece of creator that's inside of you, it it's a part of the whole part of creation. So within that fractal or that spark or that piece contains the whole. This is what the Jesus Yeshua thing was discussing when he was talking about the mustard seed, how that the entire universe is held within the mustard seed, because within that fractal of that seed is the template of the entire cosmos. He was teaching us quantum physics.
Yep. Yep. That's it. You got it.
Yeah, so this is like we're learning truth, and the truth is this is all mental. It's all mind.
It's mind created universe.
Correct. And
Ah,
when we can understand, instead of mind control, when we flip the switch and we reverse the polarity, it will be controlled mind.
yep.
You will have ultimate control over your thoughts and your feelings, your reactions and your emotions.
You're a popular woman tonight.
Oh, I love you guys so much.
Yes, we got some good people here, sure.
Oh my gosh, my heart just went exploded with love. I was like, oh, I love you guys. Like for reals, I just felt that so deeply. It was bitching.
It's humbling. It truly is.
Yes, it is. Greatest gift ever is you guys.
All right, you ready to continue?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. Self-inflicted harm is created by ourselves. To the proportionate degree we believe we are separated from the universal Father, universal consciousness, that we are mortal. Do not expect the people in the cults of government or religion to enlighten the people to the principles of spiritual truth. It would undermine their power and purse. Even if they knew, they would not tell. When you have uncluttered the connection, you have opened up a channel from the conscious mind through the subconscious mind, by which you can have a two-way flow of information and communication with the superconscious mind, which is always connected to the universal consciousness. Knowing you are truth and in universal consciousness, you can remove the apparent cohesive power of the illusion or hologram, which is manifested in what you see around you. You can do this by infusing strong emotional energy of love into the thought form you want altered or transmuted, and know it is done. This includes disease, poverty, evil, error, unhappiness, or any other thing or concept you may want to have changed. Some healers do this even without even knowing why it works. Healing is often opened up to you in stages as you grow. Visualization and the power of the mind is very powerful. Is that really the whole chapter?
Wow.
Wow. That's what I'm saying. Well, that was a quickie.
Yeah, it was.
Did I miss something? Okay. Well, anyway, on to chapter 19.
That was an awesome chapter too, by the way.
I like how we're starting to get into the healing now. I swear,
Yes.
I've never said consciousness and creator this many times in my life. It starts getting tongue twisty.
Oh, I know, right? You read very well, Brian. Very well. I love listening to you read. It's
I feel
awesome.
like I'm stumbling.
You're not. You do awesome. Awesome.
Okay, thank you. All right, here we go. Healing can be done in many different ways, and it is simple when the mind is right. The error can be removed, and it can be permanent if the patient quit doing what he did to get the error in the first place. Then, as now, we have to learn the truths and principles of nature, our universe. Our success as healers are best when we know we are the one with the patient and the universal consciousness. Then we are the law. Our word and thought are law. Disease starts in the mind by usually showing up in the etheric body. First, as a dual function of frequency and vibration of thought, and changes in polarity and the electrical charge in the physical body cells are affected. This alters the strength and the color of the bioelectric magnetic field so it can be observed. In fact, this will be very accurate and effective diagnostic tool in the future. It is already starting to be used in a small way by natural health care providers in countries outside the USA, and it is here now too.
Yep.
It is very cheap to operate, so it will take a while before it catches on in the US. There's no money in it. To correct an illness, all bodies affected by the error, physical, mental, etheric, astral, and spiritual bodies must be healed. Spiritual healing by the universal consciousness will automatically do all that. Anything else may only heal one part of the whole. If the remaining of your system still has an error or an illness, it may inflict the whole system again. If we are asked to help in healing someone, we should explain to them how it will work and then do it right away. That is when the need and the attention is the greatest. We must see that there is no fear in their mind. Fear is one of the greatest blocks of high vibration through thought energy, and that's why they keep us in fear all the time. Know you are the one who needs the healing. For starters, you can close your eyes and visualize the universal consciousness as bright white light flowing from your heart chakra to the person in need of healing. Flood the diseased organ, area, or the person, or what is to be healed with this bright white light of the universal Father's love. We must put a strong feeling of love and emotion into it. When you feel there's enough healing energy in the other person, know the error is corrected. It is done. Read more about transferring the bright white light of love later in this book. Later, when you have attained more spiritual capacity, healing is automatically by your will of thought.
That is so profoundly true. And look at, we got to see that white light in the Schumann.
I was thinking that too. I
That's
did
so
feel
awesome. I'm like,
that.
the synchronicity is just super amazing.
I'm telling this. There was a reason that I wanted to bring this out to everybody. You know, I knew
Yes,
it would resonate with a lot of people.
it's awesome.
All right, you and the person with the error or ailment are one in universal consciousness as spiritual beings with no separation and limitations. At that time, you join your mind with his or hers just by your will. The ailment is transmuted to pure light and good health is restored. Have you ever heard about spontaneous healing? Ask any medical doctor about it, and they will tell you it is real, but they do not know what it is or what causes it. To them, it's just one of those mysteries.
They can't understand it because they cannot grab a hold of that energy because it's invisible.
Yep.
And that's the true source, is it's invisible. And these powers are so, I think they're so small that they're in everything, and love activates it. It's
Yep.
amazing.
Truth in Me says it's quantum healing. Yep, that's exactly what it
Yes,
is.
exactly. Quantum healing. Yes, exactly.
Yes, Steve, it is the same as mind over matter. It's exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I mean, you know, it's our mind that's creating this matter
Yes,
anyway.
I was just gonna say that, right? It's the mind creating the matter. So yes, that's so funny. You stole those thoughts right out of my head.
That happens a lot here lately, I'm telling you. All right, so on to chapter 20. Yeah, I'll read that one. Okay. Chapter 20. Evil has been the big scare by the religions for millennia. I think that's the truth. And it has worked very well. Evil always seems to express itself more severely and aggressive because that is what we expect it to do. In that regard, in a mind created universe, evil is also mind created and an illusion. When the mind is weak and mostly concerned with the physical existence and religion, the mind created thought forms of the lower vibrations that express themselves as evil may have great influence and perceived power. It has no spiritual power of its own except for the perceived power it may be given by your mind. The home of evil is in your subconscious mind, where it originates in dormant or continues running mind memory programs. You, as the universal consciousness, can not only remove evil, but also cause its disintegration and transmute it to pure light. The Christian church, as many other religions, has been telling us for 1,678 years, when the first draft of the religious text that later became the Bible was written, that if we sin, we will go to hell. Maybe there's a little more to that story. The meaning of the word sin is one of the most misunderstood words of all time. The first New Testament was written in Old Greek, and in that language, the word sin meant to miss the aiming point, to miss the mark, used to describe an archer missing the target. Even today, we use the expression, you missed the point, when someone does not understand. What the original writings meant was, don't miss the point, or you will not achieve enlightenment. With other words, the worst you can do was to miss the point and not understand, or not try to advance spiritually. The church being what the church is, it wanted power and control over the people. So they introduced an interpretation which would cause fear. You know the rest of the story.
Yes.
Same thing goes for hell. The word hell is a derivative translation of an old Hebrew word for garbage dump. It came from the concept that both the Roman and Jewish government took the bodies of executed criminals, rapists, murderers, thieves, etc., out to the garbage dump outside of Jerusalem and burned them. So the learned people at the church meeting at Constantinople, now Istanbul, Turkey, in the year 325 thought this would be a good way to scare the people into following their directives. They wrote it into the compilation of the religious texts, telling the people that if they are not good and obey the laws, God's laws, they will go to hell and burn. The mostly ignorant masses of people almost 2,000 years ago would believe almost anything the messengers of God told them. Hell replaced the concept of the underworld, where all the bad spirits would go. The underworld had replaced the concept of the lower world, which had the same stigma in earlier times than that. The concept of the lower world came from Sumer and the Sumerians. It meant the lower part of Egypt and the northern part. Their gods at the time, Enlil, Enki, and Crew, told people that it was not a good place to go. There, they would be enslaved forever. So you see, it's all about the control. And it has worked for over 100,000 years. If we should believe the Sumerian tablets, in fact, I'm getting that it is a lot longer than that. To be more accurate, 299,000 years since the atom was created.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. Bingo.
Yeah, and we got to start there because this is a point like I could read another 5 chapters if I keep going right here. So
Right. It's so hard to stop, huh? Because you just get into the space and you're like,
this is one of those. It's one of those books. It's like you could keep going and going and going and going. I mean, it's just like you get to the end of the chapter and you want to know about the next part.
so amazing because this is literally what is going on. It's like we're trying to find our way to truth, and everything has been twisted and turned on us to keep us in fear. And through that fear, that's how we miss the mark and we have sin, is because we're not getting the point. And 90% of that is because we've never had any knowledge or understanding of the actual truth.
Yep. That's what I'm saying, and that's why I'm so disheartened. Like I'm starting to see people regress back into these old thought patterns and stuff like that. Stay strong, you've
It's
got it in you.
yeah, absolutely. And um, it's like when you get faced into a situation where you get a warning and you get a warning that something might be happening to the collective, and we need to know that we're strong enough to handle anything that's here because we are making it.
Yeah.
We are creating it. So with that, warnings are given so that way you can protect and change the outcome by doing an affirmative, positive action to support and help. So there's no, it's like the fight is in our mind. Because when you can understand that anything evil or dark that shows up in your mind or in your reality has been created from your mind, that is a gift.
And I mean, we control how much we let things affect us.
Yes, because it's showing you your trauma. It's literally when these things come into your life or your reality, it's showing you your own trauma. Many of us are here to heal the past. So we have all of these um, cellular memories within our body. And I have a lot of memory of this time when Jesus, this guy, walked the planet. And like I said, my memory never matched the Bible. That's why I was like, is this the same person? Is this a different person? Because they don't match. So then I learned later, they twisted what he was to their own thing. And like I said, this is all like foundationally what I was taught spiritually, before I had any of this information ever brought to me from the Matrix. This
Well, I
was
mean,
all
that just proves, I mean, you'd never been around Christianity or anything like that at all, but you still
nope.
had the knowledge of
Or
the name
yeah,
Jesus in your
and
mind
and these
from the
Essene
collective.
teachings, the teachings of these Essenes, it's in me. It's in me.
In
And
all
this,
of us.
yeah, it is. And this is like the more natural way, the meditation, the spiritual healing, understanding the quantum field, understanding the power of your mind. This was all the things they were doing, the awesomeness of the divine feminine, because the trifold flame is integration of masculine, feminine in unity as Christ. The Trinity, the true Trinity, was what they were teaching. And man, they did not want people practicing these things because they could not control you. They could not keep you in fear. If you knew there was no hell,
Well, you know,
nice
it's
try.
easy though. I mean, it's so easy for us just to, blame it on another person or blame it on this and blame it on that. Like I said, we are the master of our thoughts. So it's
Mhm.
basically on us how we let anything affect us.
Yeah. And when something is affecting you, really try to dive into it and go, because when something triggers you, it's showing you a hidden fear.
Yep.
It really is.
And
So
there's
be
a
like,
lot of that going on, ain't there?
yeah, and so that's when you're grateful, and that's when you're like, okay, um, either I'm getting a warning or this is a hidden fear within me. How can I handle that, and how can I look at this fear? Because when you can see your own fear, the first time you might view it, it might be a little traumatizing, but then if you are brave enough to go through it again, or maybe even again, you will become the observer.
I think I'm too dumb to even fear anything anymore, or I've just been through so much. It's just whatever, you know.
But you've learned how to disassociate. You're like, whatever will be, will be. You know
Yeah, I
better.
mean that's the way
Yeah.
I am too. It's whatever.
You come into a surrender knowing that the process is bigger than you and whatever is going to be is okay. And 90% of what's happening, you created it. So you
I
trust yourself
I
now.
put myself through hell and back.
That's what I
I did
mean.
it to
You trust
myself.
yourself that you'll pull yourself up.
So, I ain't got nobody to blame but myself. So
Right. So, yes, this is where we're going to be. What we want to be is by diving into this fear and knowing, you know, there is no evil that you cannot have power over because good is stronger. So just know
so
that.
I never did see in the. Yeah, I hear you, Scotty boy. I am fearful of thumbtacks. You're damn right about that. uh, we had a good turnout tonight. I'd like to.
I love you guys.
Are you free tomorrow night? Would you want to do it again tomorrow night?
Yeah. Yeah. We can do some more. This is
I
what we
see.
need to do. We need to learn and we need to discover truths. We need to learn about all the crap so we can put ourselves back together.
And let's focus on things like this, things to
Yes.
expand our knowledge, not to
Uh-huh.
diminish it.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, right now everything is so fear-based. I mean,
Yeah.
oh man, it's off.
And that's why I don't want to talk about it. Folks,
Yeah,
I promise you, I've canceled shows, things. I'm not going to talk about any of that crap from here on.
yeah,
It's
we
going to be
have to
things
be
like
the
this.
positive, right? We got to be the positive within this fear-based soup show they're trying to
Yeah,
give everybody. We need to be the ones that be like, no,
yeah. So it's going to be about expanding your horizons here,
yeah,
not putting you
we're gonna
back in the
focus
shit
on
show.
something better. Yeah, focus on something better because that is the best way to break. Look what we did with the Schumann. Guys, this is real. And they're going to try to get us wrapped up in fear in their programs, and it will not happen if you do not comply. You do not comply, but you don't allow it into your mind.
Oh, it's one, and
Really say, nope.
that's why I'm saying this new comment and stuff, it being named Atlas, destruction. I mean, they're gonna play that. They're gonna play that thing out. They're gonna play it up. So don't buy into it, folks. And
Uh,
listen, whether it's gonna cause destruction or not, what the hell are you gonna do about it? So don't worry about
right. It really doesn't matter.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if a big comet outlet comes and takes out the whole freaking planet, a whole planet, who's going to care? We are instantly ascended.
So worry about you right
Instantly.
now. All you
Yeah.
need to do is worry about you.
Yeah. And know that whatever, if something really big like that happens, guys, you signed up to be here for it. So
Yep.
why would you be afraid of something that you wanted to be here for?
It's an exciting time to be alive.
Yeah. Yeah. And knowing that we literally can affect all of it by what we think.
We are affecting
We
it.
can.
We
Yes.
are.
Yes. Absolutely.
So I
Bingo.
guess, folks, we'll be back tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Same bat channel, same bat time.
Yeah.
Well, Trina, thanks for joining me, folks out there. I love you. I'm sorry, like I said, it took a few days off, but I think we all needed a little rest, to be honest with you. So,
Yeah. And I think too, we needed to see the effect that we had when we come together with love and
yep.
healing and just good mojo, you know. Good mojo can come in many different boxes of good mojo, and your box is special, and deliver your package because it is a gift.
And proof's in the pudding. You seen what, with this human last night, what that accomplished. So I encourage you even more now to get out there in these groups, whether it's just
Yeah.
two of you, work with it,
Yeah.
work with your abilities, whether it's telepathy, whatever, just work. As
Yeah.
Missy Ellie say, work.
That's it. Come on, let's work.
All right, well, you hang with me, folks. I'll be back tomorrow night. Another Higher Minds, I guess. Until
Yeah.
then, be the frequency you want to receive, folks. I love you all.